A couple million's been used.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of funds that are just sitting out there really not doing anything, but you know, that's just another point. Key economic releases, we have October personal income and spending, October durable good orders, and news and existing home sales in October. But all that basically I think is going to go on this week, as obviously Thanksgiving's coming up. There's just going to be more talk about the Fed and whether what they're doing is right or not.
Well, one of the things that, you know, as I said, we run the numbers every week, and the market has been steady. It hasn't been out of control. Our numbers have been the same for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
We had a decrease slightly after, you know, the tax credit went away, and everybody expected that. But from June through now, every week we've been consistent with the number of sales that we've had. So, you know, I see that trend continuing. I don't see it's going to be going gangbusters, especially now the time of year that we're coming into.
Yeah.
But who knows what's going to happen in the spring.
Well, I mean, I think it's important. I mean, consistency is key. It's something that you really want to see in the real estate market.
Right.
You don't want to have to, you know, where you're up high and then you drop off, up high, you drop off. I mean, that's not good for anybody. I mean, your sellers are probably not knowing what's going on and not knowing whether they should sell now or wait till later.
Right.
Versus when you have this, you know, just a steady incline. I mean, nobody's going to complain about that.
Nope.
So, you wrote a blog last week, I believe, right,
Yeah.
on the 10 top reasons to sell now versus waiting until next year.
Correct.
I thought it was a great blog, and what I thought we'd do is kind of go through each one of these things to kind of give a breakdown to people that are, you know, looking or potentially looking to sell their home right now.
Sure.
Number one, you said inventory levels go down every year around the holidays because not everyone needs to sell, so there is less competition.
Right. Some people put their house on the market to test the market to see if they get a certain sales price, then they'll sell.
Right.
Those are not serious sellers, and those people will typically come off the market during the holidays because they don't want to be bothered during the holiday season. And usually that happens the second week of November. This year it actually started happening the third and fourth week of October. So we've seen a decrease in the number of homes for sale by about 25% from that time period. So as inventory levels go down, there's only serious buyers coming into the market, and if you're a serious seller, now's a great time to sell.
Yeah, that's great.
You know what your competition is.
Yeah, I mean, it's defined.
Correct.
Number two is people will usually decorate their homes for the holidays, putting them in a nicely staged condition, and it can help attract buyers. I think this is a great one.
Right. You know, you hear more and more since the market turned about 2.5, 3 years ago about how you have to have the 3 key ingredients to get your house sold. It used to be location, location, location. Well, now it's price, condition, and staging. And typically people don't go way overboard like Clark Griswold does. Most people decorate their houses nicely. And if your house is decorated nicely, it's going to show better, and people will be more attracted to seeing it because they'll envision their property or their home the way it would be when they decorated it.
Yeah, I guess it's right back to the same thing. If somebody walks in and it's all white walls, they have a hard time envisioning themselves.
Vacant and
yeah, exactly. So yeah, and especially during the holidays, there's just a different feel about your house as well.
Yep.
Number three, we don't know who the competition will be after the holidays.
Well, you know, you hear a lot about the foreclosures that are out there that the banks are holding on to, the shadow inventory. Again, we don't really see it that much here from the numbers that we run. But how many of your neighbors are going to get job transfers, and how many of your neighbors want to take advantage of the market in the spring or be that tester of the seller who says, hey, I just want to see if I can get this number for my house. So right now you know who's on the market. You don't know who's going to be on the market in the spring.
Right, and then, I mean, there's so many things that can happen between now and then.
Right. I mean, prices could go down, prices could go up. I mean, you just never know. But right now you know what the market is.
You can capitalize on that, and, you know, it's perfect if somebody's looking to move up to you know, the higher end home that they've always wanted to buy.
Right, exactly.
Go
Just
ahead
like the guy did down in Stafford.
Yeah, and it may not be the money that you want right now. But if you can take and get out of that property and into the new one, lock your long-term, you know, financing in at a solid interest rate, then it completely makes sense.
Absolutely.
Number five, we know where the competition is priced today, and we don't know where they will be priced at later, or if the prices will be deeply discounted. It kind of continues on to the previous point.
Exactly. And, you know, one of the things that we've seen recently as far as the foreclosures go, Fannie Mae is going in and fixing up properties and reselling them, so they're keeping the prices high. You also have, as you mentioned, Capital One doing the same thing. But not everybody's doing that. And there could be an instance in a particular neighborhood where a Bank of America or a Citi or an IndyMac or GMAC will go in and they'll just deeply discount the properties to get them sold. So What you think is your price today may not be your price later. Don't gamble and sell today if you want to.
Yeah, and I will comment on that as far as from the financing perspective. It only takes that one bad comp
Right.
to throw off the financing, which I know most people don't want to believe that, you know, that you can say, well, there's 3 comps on this street that all sold for $400, but then there's the one that sold for $320.
Because the appraisers are nervous.
Exactly, and what's going to happen is the lenders are even more nervous.
Right.
They don't want to take the risk because when they go to sell that loan on Wall Street, they want to make sure that everything is defined and it's more on the conservative side.
Absolutely.
So that could be the difference in $10,000 to $15,000.
Yeah, big time.
So yeah,
Real money.
That's a great point there.
Unlike the government's money, which isn't real.
Yeah, it's complete.
So
well, you know, all that they're not actually. I think people actually do believe that they print money. There's no printing. They push a button and the zeros just start adding up on the bank's balance sheets. That's exactly what it is. The buyers looking at this time of year are typically not tire kickers. They are real buyers.
You know, even though this weekend was beautiful, most people don't go out for joyrides this time of year. They're doing Christmas shopping. They're doing holiday shopping. You know, they're hunkering down. They're not going out. So the people that are actually out there looking right now are serious buyers. They need to get into a property quickly. So you're not going to have 50 people looking at your house and knowing only that, you know, 5 are serious buyers. If 5 people are looking, 5 people are serious.
Yeah, that's a good point. Number 7, we see houses that are priced right, are in the right condition, and are staged properly, are attracting multiple offers.
Yep, we had a townhouse recently in Centerville go on the market. The sellers wanted to price a little bit above where our agent thought it should be priced. He thought $300, they thought $310. They put it on the market for $310, had 30 people through in 2 weekends. He convinced them to bring it down to $300,000. They got 2 offers on it that weekend, and they have somebody else that said that they're waiting in the wings to see if something would kick out with the first 2 contracts. So, again, priced right, staged right, and in the right condition, the properties are selling, and we see multiple contracts. It's not just in Centerville at $300. It's in Arlington at $750. So
yep.
it's across the counties, and it's across price points.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's huge when, you know, a lot of times I'm sure you get sellers that think their house is worth more than it really is, and the bottom line is if they want to sell their house, they have to truly want to sell their house.
Right.
Number 8, interest rates are fantastic. Near record lows, making now an attractive time to buy.
Even though the interest rates, as we discussed, have gone up 0.5% in the last couple of weeks, 4.5.
It's still silly.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's you know, a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Every time I say the word 4, it's like doesn't fall out of my mouth right.
It's not an arm or a buy down.
Exactly.
That's a 30-year fix.
Yeah, there's no gimmicks here. We're not saying,
right.
You know, get your low 5-year fixed at 4%.
Yeah, it's not a teaser rate.
Yeah.
It's a real rate.
I think that's and this is one of the most important things because that affects their payment.
Correct.
You know, and then payment
or lifestyle.
Or lifestyle. So that's the most important thing to most people. I mean, buying the dream home at a payment that they can afford. Number 9, we're seeing many buyers in the market today, and we don't know if they will be around after the new year.
Well, you know, right now, as you mentioned before, we have some of the lowest unemployment in the country. And if inflation starts coming into play, you know, people will stop hiring. And so we don't know what's going to happen in the spring. We know right now that there's a great pool of buyers, but again, we don't have a crystal ball. You know, mine's broken and in a shop. I don't know when I'm going to get it back. I don't know about yours, Ryan.
I think mine rolled down the street years ago.
I did it. So,
yeah.
I mean, you can't predict the future, but again, we know what's happening today. We don't know what's going to happen in the spring and who's going to be hiring and how many people they're going to be hiring. So,
yeah,
take advantage.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a big thing there, especially if interest rates move up a little bit more, and then it's going to put people thinking they're going to come back the other way again.
Right.
Number 10, if you're looking to buy, only serious sellers are on the market who need to sell to strike while the iron is hot.
Well, that's just what we touched on a minute ago, where you said, you know, your dream house is going to be available.
Yep.
And again, we don't know what that price is going to be in the spring. It could be higher. We don't know how many buyers are going to be going after that same property. And if the numbers make sense today, pull the trigger. Don't wait.
Absolutely.
You know, it might turn into be a rent. You might be a landlord and buy that property. But again, people that are selling today are serious.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, it's huge because it's the